All right. Sitting here in the CruciFit studio. Not sure where we're going with this one, but we're gonna co this episode, Western Contours CruciFit, um, and just see where we go. I want to talk about what Aaron has coming up, and then bring the CrossFit world. Not that it's not already in hunting, but I want to dissect that a bit. Uh, in terms of mountain preparation. There's certain things with CrossFit that intrigue me, but then there's certain things that I have physically that I can't do it. So we'll get rocking and rolling. Let's do a little bit of an intro with both of you.
Yeah.
Um, so my audience knows who you are, the ones that didn't listen to the CruciFit pod with me on it. So ladies first.
I'm Crystal, one half of the CruciFit podcast. Yeah, happy to be with you today, Guy. Thanks for being with us. I guess if we're talking CrossFit and how that relates to hunting, I've been doing CrossFit for just over 3 years now. Coming from never having picked up a barbell before, really only running, lifting like little 5-10 pound dumbbells in my living room. And so it's been a pretty cool experience to learn the CrossFit world and to get into competing and all of that, doing things I never thought were possible for me.
What flipped the switch?
That's a good question. So I had 3 girls at that point and was friends with the woman whose now partner took over the CrossFit gym. And one day he was just talking about this workout called Murph that CrossFit gyms across the world really do every Memorial Day, and it sounded fun. It's a 1 mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats followed by a mile run. And if you're really doing it, is written in a weighted vest. And for whatever reason, it's just kind of my personality. I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. I'll do that. And just kind of jumped in and I couldn't do a pull-up, so it was modified, but got the bug after that and started going just 1 day a week. And that turned into 2 days a week, which turned into 3, which turned into 6.
Is it an addictive personality thing? Or it literally triggered something?
No, it triggered something in me. I don't think I have an addictive personality, but I definitely, like, if I like something and I'm into something, I'll just be into it. So I guess maybe that's the definition of an addictive personality, now that I say that out loud.
I'll say it.
So yeah, maybe I have an addictive personality. Yeah. And I just loved it. CrossFit gave me so much. It gave me strength, both mentally and physically. It gave me community. It gave me the ability to realize that I can do things that I didn't think were possible for myself, to push myself in ways I didn't think were possible. I mean, CrossFit gave me so much that I'm eternally grateful for.
So the community part of it, I mean, I could totally relate to that, right? In terms of, if I take CrossFit community and look at the hunting community, I often say, if I go to like an expo or something with my people,
Yeah.
like that is when I feel the most at home and at peace. Put me somewhere else and I'm like,
Yes.
I don't want to be here. So I could totally relate, right? It's like like-minded people, you know what they've gone through to get to where they're at, or the road that they're on.
Yes.
Right. And what's the goal in CrossFit? Like, is there a goal? Because I see so many people just fall into it and engulf themselves in it. Is there an end result, or is it just that constant physical, mental challenge of you beating you and then just continuing to see that?
I mean, for me, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I've set goals for sure within that, but for me, yeah, it's that me versus me, you know.
You kind of hinted at like a GPP, general physical preparedness. So just being ready all the time. So most people aren't necessarily training for an event or a competition or anything like that. They just want to be physically ready and physically capable at any given moment. That's the whole idea, which lends itself like to be in a constant state of readiness. You also need to be uninjured. And so there is a balance there. A lot of people miss that. But yeah, the idea being that at any moment you're ready to go for whatever life throws at you.
I had a moment maybe a year into CrossFit where I had my 3 daughters. We were at a lake and I had 2 paddle boards and a big bag full of snacks and a cooler. And I had to get all of that stuff and all the girls to, I don't know, it wasn't like that far of a walk, but I had to carry everything. And I just like threw one paddleboard on my back, threw the other one on the other side, and then had the snack bag in the cooler and just carried it all to the lake and had this moment of realization of, oh, a year ago.
I do that with the groceries every
Yeah.
single
Like this would have been really hard. And so that like just being ready, you know, was a cool moment in that where I felt like, oh, I'm actually I see the transfer from the gym into my real life.
Where have you seen that transfer that you didn't expect into life?
Oh, that's a good question. I think for me, mentally, like I had always worked out as an adult to be small, to be as small as I could, like skinny, thin. And I didn't expect the transformation of my focus shifting to be strong and capable versus small and thin. And that was probably the biggest surprise of the transition that I saw, because that strength for me transferred not only from my physical body, but to mentally and emotionally too. And that was really not an expected part, because I started CrossFit as like, oh, this is another way to work out to be small. So that was pretty cool for me.
Any parental transfer in how you parent your daughters, the things you've learned going through that Murph?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I mean, I always say I feel so lucky that the examples that my daughters get are both women and men, but specifically women in the gym, lifting heavy, working hard in ways that are not body size focused. And so I just think what a blessing that that's what they get to see, because that's the opposite of what I saw growing up.
I mean, that's huge.
Yeah. And
They think that's normal.
they think it's normal. Like they don't even think they don't even think it's special that I can do a muscle up or clean 160 pounds or whatever. It's just normal. That's what women in their world do.
That's amazing.
And
Societally, right? If you look at the opposite ends of CrossFit and what they see on social media, right? Like
yeah,
it's the same, that social media is the same image that you saw growing up in.
totally. In
nuts.
magazines at the grocery store. Yeah. So that's just normal life for them, which is pretty cool.
They ready to jump in?
No, none of them have any interest in doing it. That's not true. The youngest might. I just started taking them boxing, and we've gotten into that together as the 4 of us, and that's been really fun.
Boxing classes
Really fun.
There's some good skill that transfers into life, in my head, in any martial art.
Yeah, for sure. Discipline being one of them.
Oh my goodness. All right, one down.
One down.
I'm Aaron. Also a CruciFit podcast co-host. Slightly different background. I have a long history in health and wellness, fitness, and all this kind of stuff. I've been coaching CrossFit for over 10 years. I've been coaching in this space of functional fitness for almost 20, actually more than 20. So it's been quite the journey. Background in the military. Before this, I coach fitness in the military as well. So coming from a different angle, been doing this nearly my whole life, my entire adult life. Fitness has played a really front kind of role. And with the military. So jumping on your podcast to talk a little bit of preparation for hunting and some things along those lines. Not a hunter. Love the concept. Haven't been out yet, so I'm waiting to be taken out by all my new crew of friends. But what I lack in my understanding of hunting, hopefully I can
make up in the
combat in. Yeah, and the preparedness and that readiness and resilience, and
it is one of the only things that you will beg for that kicks your ass like no other. Right?
Yeah.
Like I don't care how much time you spend in a CrossFit gym, MMA gym, regular gym, right? Working aesthetics. It will humble you and make you feel that big, and you beg for more.
That's so cool.
It is everything that you think about. It is nuts.
Is that partially because you can prepare in all the ways you can think of to prepare, but then when you're out there,
there's no script.
Yeah, you have no idea what's going to get thrown at you.
So if you're, you could set the goal for the Murph, right? Hey, I'm going to do a Murph in X amount of time. You could build and achieve and achieve and achieve and achieve. On the hunting side of that, you could shoot for proficiency with whatever weapon you choose. You can get physically ready. You can know the ins and outs of the mountain. You could have your land nav down and dialed. On the other side of that, your prey has no idea of the script that you have.
Right.
Right. So there's always this loose end, if you will, that you're chasing. Right. And as dialed as you could be on any given day, that could all unfold in a blink of an eye.
Right, because the animal you're hunting, they're like, yeah, I'm not a part of your script.
Right. They have no idea
Yeah.
you wrote a script.
Right. They don't know what a script is.
But it's one of the most
And if they did, they'd avoid yours.
Right. But it's one of the most beautiful, lack of a better word, dances that you'll, at least in my opinion, that you'll ever be a part of.
You're so connected with nature at the same time, and therefore connected to like higher purpose just by the sheer environment that you're in.
Oh, it's amazing. We got to get where you're going.
Yeah. Do you feel like hunting, like as a man in particular, like that's part of God's design?
For some people.
For some people.
Some are gatherers for sure.
Yeah.
And some of us are hunters.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, and typically
There's
like
jab in there as well, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's just who we are, right? As a species, right? It's part of us. And
yeah.
I don't necessarily think that it's just for men, right?
Yeah.
There's that women that just kill it.
Yeah.
What? And there's women that go out and are better hunters than the men around them. And women are, and you might be able to attest to this with the military, but women are generally better marksmen than men are.
That's interesting.
Why do you think?
Because women don't have ego, right? So
interesting.
I miss a shot, he misses a shot. We may dwell on that shot. You miss a shot, you move on to the next shot. We're still sitting in the last shot. I just yanked that 4 inches to the left. It's going to bother me the next 3 shots, right? So it's short memory and no ego. I think you guys do that way better than we do.
Interesting. I definitely think it might just be different ego.
We see that as a coach as well. Women can be often much easier to coach because they're not so biased by their need to know everything. So in the fitness world, when you're trying to teach somebody how to lift, a lot of men don't want to hear how to lift, even when they're doing it wrong. Because there's a part of them in there that's like, no, I know how to lift a barbell. You don't need to teach me. Whereas the females will just be like, whatever help you can give me.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. I was at the gym, early last week, and I always end upper body days with Tyson push-ups. So I'll go and I'll throw on a song and I'll go in the back and just bang them out until failure, right? And then I have a number in my head for that day, and I'll just bang them out. Well, then this kid walks in. He's probably 24, 25. He walks in, he walks by me, and then the next thing I know, I look over and he's doing them. Right? But
your chest isn't touching the ground, son, but okay.
And then his shirt's off, right? Because I'm just going, I could care less. I go to the freaking gym, and I'm sure you don't have to do this at CrossFit. I hope not. I go to the gym, and I can get in there and bang out a workout in an hour, like a good, solid workout. And I look around, and I'm like, you guys are here before me, but every time they finish a set, what do?
Talk.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
And next thing I know, I look over, and this dude's got his shirt off, right? And then I'm like, ego, man. Ego. Like, dude, I could care less. I'm probably double your age. But it was pretty funny. I don't even know where that came from or why I even said it at this point, but it just
the ego.
The ego part of it was just like, all right, I'm too old for that crap at this.
Going back to what you talk about, like the script, there's something in that I mean, we both now have a podcast that is faith-based first. There's something kind of biblical in that, like, and we've been talking about this. It just keeps coming up over and over in the most recent episodes, but that preparation over outcome. And so I want to say that good hunters might be judged on their ability to like come back with a kill more often than the guys who don't. But it's easy to say, well, you could call it lucky or you could call it whatever you want to call it, but he's most likely, and I would like to get your input on this, but it's most likely that he's doing the most work in the darkness that nobody's seeing, preparing. making sure he's not going to miss when that opportunity comes.
I would agree to a point. Right now, it depends on the goal that you've set. A lot of guys will go out and prepare for the hunt, but you don't have a goal in terms of class of animal, right? Maybe a big giant 6x6 bull, or 190-inch. You have no idea what that means.
No, but some people go in with that goal, like, I want the biggest bull in the forest.
Right. So without that goal, you'll take anything. So it really, there's a fine line, right? And understanding, that man and that goal. And I don't want to belittle someone shooting whatever animal is in front of them. That's not what I'm doing. But it's different to have something just walk in and say, oh yeah, he's dead, right? Like,
Yeah,
I'm taking it.
as opposed to waiting for what they actually set out to.
Right. And then going out and saying, hey, my thing for the last 7 years has been an actual herd bull. So you have, elk are a herd animal, and there's this huge dynamic, and you'll have, one older, not necessarily older, but a more dominant male that's running a particular group of cows, and they'll have what's called satellite bulls around them. I don't want a satellite bull. I want a on my own solo call in herd bull. Hardest bull to pull away from the cows. As soon as
Okay.
he leaves the cows, then the satellite bulls, the smaller, younger, less dominant, come move in, and they'll mate the cows. His cows. Doesn't want that, so he's harder to pull in. So there's this dance you have to do. And there's been times where I've been pissed and banging on the ground, wanting to huck my bow off the nearest cliff, screaming, cussing, looking up, going, why? But I've never acquiesced to the easy. And I've passed on bulls, sometimes regretfully. And then, I'll call the wife, like, and she'll, like, if you do it, you're going to regret it. And there's something to be said about just setting in on a goal, whatever it is, however long it takes you, and then just focusing in. And I just talked about this. I don't remember who I was talking to, but it's the finality of taking a life. So if I settle for a lesser animal, that's final. I just killed an animal that I'm going to be
almost for ego,
right, wholeheartedly, just to bag something, right? So there's something that's taught me over the last 7 years, which sounds crazy, but you got to figure September's 30 days.
Right.
That's the only opportunity. I'm fortunate enough for the last, several years I can spend the entire month on the mountain. Most people get 7 to 10 days, right? So you're talking this minute piece of time throughout the year. So it's not like an entire year of doing something.
No, it's basically 7 months.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that much time, but it's taught me so much about discipline and humility and just sticking to it. Sometimes going, why do I want to do this so bad, right? Like, why am I just going to follow that path and suffer through the mental anguish, the imposter syndrome almost? I'm proficient as hell. Like, I could shoot my rifle out to 1,300 yards. I could shoot my bow, and my eyesight's getting a little worse with my bow. So I'm going to say, effective kill range with my bow is like, 70 to 80 yards with my eyesight the way it is now. But there's something about the discipline and the mindset and just going over, and the wife has seen the frustration. Like, there's been times where I'm on the mountain, I'm like, with this crap, like, why am I doing this?
funny.
I hate elk hunting. But then a day later,
where am I going again?
I'm preparing for the next year.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's something about it that just is just going to keep you plugging and keep you plugging. And then to be able to set a goal like that, and for me at least, for 7 years, and just going, it's going to happen. If I just stick with it, it's going to happen. By not, or taking a lesser animal, guess what? I'm starting over.
Yeah.
Right? I'm breaking the cycle of discipline. It's
So how would the preparation look from someone that's doing what you're doing compared to someone who just wants to stock the freezer for?
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
There's really no difference in preparation, right? It's the same.
Even like mentally?
Mentally, absolutely, right? Because you have to watch animals walk by you, right? You have to say, nope, that's not what I'm here for.
Straight discipline.
Yeah, and that part of it is way different. But in terms of like the physical preparation, preparation with your weapon, I don't think there's any difference.
It sounds like a big difference. Yeah, like you're not making an emotional decision,
Right.
but the physical preparations. It kind of reminds me of what you talk about with trading. Like not making an emotional decision in the moment, knowing what your long goal is.
Sticking to it.
And sticking to it.
Right, that's
and sticking to the
part-
plan.
Right.
So do you like
when the easy ones pop up,
Right.
but
Yeah.
if they're not part of your plan, yeah.
How do you get the big trade?
Yeah.
Right. If you just blew 60% of your finance, right? And you
Chasing
on that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same. The discipline part of it is huge. But if I want to fill the freezer, I'm gonna get a rifle tag.
Okay.
It's gonna be a rifle cow tag. Like that's a freezer filler.
So that was gonna be my question. There's a difference between hunting for meat and hunting for like what you're talking about is more like, yes, you'll eat that meat of that bull that you eventually kill. But that sounds more of like, I don't even know if sport is the right word.
It feels
like
like the difference between sport and spiritual.
Yeah.
There's
like,
I mean, in the hunting realm, they'll say, trophy hunting.
okay.
Right? That would be what that would be called to a point, right? And for me, it's maybe that's what it was initially, right? This big, giant, majestic bull, right? Like the hardest one in the herd to get. And now it's just, I'm not doing it because I can't do it. When I sat and I thought I would consider that life lesser than that life, that was the line in the sand for me.
That's really interesting to hear because I think the term trophy hunting has sort of like in general society has a negative connotation.
Well, and it's been talked about. Sorry, I didn't mean
No,
to
that's
cut you off like
okay.
that, but it's been used by anti-hunters to draw up an emotional support for
Yes,
their cause.
totally.
Right? That's totally why that even exists.
Because what you just described of your on 7 years of this journey, like that's so beautiful and sort of the antithesis of what that trophy hunting narrative is, right? Like the trophy hunting narrative that people who are against hunting, it's like, oh, you just drive up in a car and shoot this lion or whatever it is. Like, that's pretty cool to think about. So while you're waiting for that, you are still hunting other animals for meat, right? Yeah. So it's like two different things, kind of.
Yeah. So I'll get my September archery tag, which is my bull tag, and I'll chase that for September. And then the wife will pull a cow tag. Actually, last year she pulled a bull tag, and then we'll do a deer tag, and I'll do a cow tag if it's available, and we'll fill the freezer that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, the September goal is the September goal, and it's like get your teeth kicked in time and time again, and just keep going back for more.
Did you even have you had a shot?
Yeah. I've blown a couple. Biggest bull probably in front of me to date. Just happened to be crossing. It was me and my two boys, and Tony was up, and there's a cow there, and it was his first time in front of an elk, and his eyes were as big as saucers. And time is very fleeting when you have animals, right? I mean, if you get 30 seconds, that's a great opportunity.
Okay.
For the I don't want to say perfect, but the perfect shot, right? That perfect broadside, 2 holes through the lung type deal. And I'm sitting there, we're behind this bush. We just happened to cross their path, and there's a cow, and she's like 7 yards from us, and he's down, and he's got an arrow knocked, and I'm going thumper, thumper, and his eyes are just that big, like, holy crap, this animal's huge. Well, then, not 10 seconds later, this big bull comes following a couple cows out. So I'm gonna let Guy shoot it, and I'm like, go ahead, and he's like, oh my God. Like he's just standing there like couldn't believe it. And I'm like, screw it. I knock an arrow and just winged a shot and went right over the bull. And that was a giant bull. Like that would have done it, but that was like maybe 2 years in. So there's part of me that relives that. Like, what did you do wrong? But then there's part of me that is so grateful for all the lessons, all the trial, and the getting my teeth kicked in. And sometimes it sucks. Like last year, I had a situation where it sucked. It wasn't a solo hunt. It wasn't that solo bull. It wasn't the herd bull. And I blew a situation, and it was just like, what are you did one. But you wait so long. That's the funny part about it, is you wait so long. And then when you're in the moment, you should be dialed.
Yeah.
Right. But you're not, because you've let, and this is a mistake on my part, right? Where there's, I have a smaller bull in front of me. I should at least draw on the bull. I should at least go through the motions, right? Like that preparation for the moment when that bull's in front of me. And I haven't done that. I'm just like, I'll sit there and I'll pull out my phone and, just gawk at this animal. Well, it showed me. Last year was God saying,
Yeah.
that was that moment. I don't know if you've heard that story.
Yeah, on that first podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was absolutely God putting me where he wanted me to be, like 110%, like no doubt. But yeah, there's something about it. You're going with me. Even if you just go on the mountain for a week, just to experience it, right? Like, I think your connection with your faith, your connection with CrossFit, and then every piece of your life will make sense as soon as you hit that mountain and you're in those animals. It is like nothing else.
Yeah.
Nothing else you'll ever experience.
I can't wait to go out.
It's amazing.
Looking forward to an opportunity this year. Made a few hunting friends this past 12 months.
Yeah,
it's a good crossover in the faith community and the hunting community.
Yeah,
it really is.
And I want to bring that discomfort piece and that preparation piece into the mental aspect, and then start talking what you see in terms of mountain prep. Again, the CrossFit world to me intrigues me. I just don't. I got an addictive personality, like you.
No, I don't have one. As we've already learned. When I'm into something, that's just all I do, and I don't stop. But I don't have an addictive personality.
It really scares the piss out of me to even think about liking it, because I already know that I'll just fall so deep.
That's why I don't watch TV.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm better than TV. I know that I'm worse. It's just like, if I start, I'll get hooked on Game of Thrones and I'll watch it for 3 years.
Yeah. So yeah, let's roll down that. We definitely going to bring in the faith journey too, right? That's a big part of me delivering my podcast now. So I like to delve into that with both of you a bit. But yeah, let's talk about that discomfort piece and how to deal with that, how you guys deal with that in terms of CrossFit. Because I'm sure there's moments even now, right, where it's like, okay, I'm just going to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this topic. It's one of my favorites. First and foremost, we need to remember that our ability to endure discomfort is a skill, and it can be learned, and it can be trained. If we think that it's a innate characteristic trait, you can't make any excuses for yourself from the outset. The reason I know this to be true is because not through my CrossFit experience, but rather through my military experience. And the entire premise around physical training in the military is to just continually throw things at you that you didn't see coming, to put you into maximum discomfort, with the intent that when you get out the other side, you're like, wow, like an hour ago, there's no way I thought I could have done that. And here I am, I've done it. I didn't die. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And they just continually do things. They even set up training in ways. There's a whole principle that I've coined, a false summit principle of training. And I kind of came up with that because we were doing this, we were doing like a ruck march in the military one time, and it was out in some sand dunes, and it was pretty hectic work. And there was like sand dunes, but then you'd go into like mountain range, and it was a slog. It was hard work. It was hard going. We had pretty heavy packs. And then every time we saw the summit that we'll go into, and we're like, we just got to get up this hill. Just got to get up this hill. We'd get there and another one. It happened 4 times, to the point where you're so mentally broken and you're like, I don't have another summit in me. Like, I can't get to the top of this. Where did it even come from? Like, it wasn't there a minute ago.
Didn't see it.
And so they train you that way very purposefully and very specifically. So in CrossFit, I now try to coach that. I try to get people to push into areas that they don't want to go, in order to what we call train hard, fight easy. So if you can always train harder than you anticipate it's going to be in reality, then you're always going to be prepared. But if you train in a place of comfort, as soon as it gets hard, you're going to buckle because you don't rise to your expectations. You fall to the level of your training. And that's just like a life. It's a life law. Like it's a universal law. You will fall to the level of your training. So I like people to push into areas where they're uncomfortable. And so I even talk to people in workouts and I'll be like, I know you could pace this and get through and get a much better time than what I'm about to suggest, but I would rather have you absolutely burn your jets in the first 15 minutes and then see how you can hold up. Because if that happens in a competition where you accidentally go too hard too early, I want to see how you get through. And you need to know what that feels like. And so from a CrossFit element, it's more that I'm trying to coach people that way. But the discomfort stuff, I kind of learned through the military.
So there, in my head, there's a difference when you're in a group versus independent of a group, right? If I'm out on a solo hunt, it's 110%. What's in here motivating me?
Way
What's
harder.
in here motivating me? How do you translate that?
I have a few little mind games that I like to use. It is much easier in a group environment, for sure. Being out doing things solo where I'm just dying. I like to chunk things. I just chunk it up. So like, what's my next goal? Just get to this light post, just get to this next mile marker, get to this next aid station, whatever it happens to be, if it's some sort of fitness or whatever. I keep the goal very small. So I'm just trying to get to the next step, just trying to get to the next step, just trying to get to the next step. But I keep the picture, if this makes any sense, very big. And all I'm thinking about is how it's going to feel when I hit the goal. So I'm thinking, what's my next step? What's my next tiny little thing to check off? But how's it going to feel when this is done? How's it going to feel when, if I hit a buck or something, I got to cut that thing up and it's going to be heavy as heck. And we got to cart that thing out 8 miles or something. If I'm thinking about an 8-mile hike with 60 pounds of meat on my back, I'm going to buckle pretty quickly. But if I'm thinking, get half a mile, have a sip of water, get another half a mile, have a sip of water, and imagine how cool this is going to be when I just strut out with 60 pounds of meat on my back and my friends see me, that's how I get through.
My buddy Armando, he does this similar, but he'll count 50 steps and then he'll take a 10-step count break. And he'll count 30 steps and take a 10 or 15 count step break. And we did a pack out 3 years ago, and it was heavy.
Yeah.
I think we were probably 100 pounds each.
Yep.
And we had lollipops in our mouth. Freaking, what are those? Blow pops? Or whatever. And that's all he did. He's like, hey, we're going to do this. My dad taught me this.
50 steps.
Here's a sucker. I have a sucker. And it was like the easiest 100-pound pack out there ever was. Because you're sitting there chewing on sucker, and you hear 49, 50, 10 seconds, take a couple licks, and then off you go again.
Yeah.
The solo element is something else, though, right? Because you do a lot of talking. There is a lot of talking.
Negative self-talk, like doubt.
Crap. I think it's inherent in us to talk negatively.
Yeah, like protection mechanism.
Yeah, it's crazy because we will go negative Nelly, full to the other side.
Well, I would say it's not inherent. That's the devil, right? Like, because that stuff doesn't come from God, but he can sneak in there.
Yeah.
Real easily and real quick.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a point.
Yeah.
And it sneaks up. So like you can do 10 years of intense training for mental toughness and then have a month, a lazy month, and then you go back to the gym. And that voice has just got so loud. You've done 10 years of work and 1 month of slack, and it's just screaming, quit, 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 quit. No one's going to care. They're still your friends. Like, or if I'm training by myself, God help me, because then it's like, there's no one to even judge me. Like, quit. And that voice just screams at that point. Like, that's something I'd never even considered because I'd never put the two together. But
either.
The enemy just creeping in and telling you you're not worth it, and that.
On the other side of that, though, when you do acquiesce to that, right, the level of regret that you have to carry, for me, right, September to September, right, so a year of regret that I'm carrying around, right, again, this isn't something I get to do all the time. Like, I have to walk and go, that is, so then it just grilling you the whole flipping year.
But then that's how you get better, right? Because then the next year you're like, I don't want to go for this again.
Yes and no, right? Because that voice can get louder.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It can get louder. After that month that Erin's talking about, the voice
is loud.
is
Scream.
loud. It's screaming. So you really have to dial in and say, that's where the free will part comes in.
Yeah.
Right? If we're going with faith, that free will piece of it is really what you have to go, okay, I have the choice right here, and
like,
and
Yeah,
am I going to go
get
left
better.
or right?
right. Just dwell in the
Yeah.
poor me, this was bad, I didn't do well, or are you going to say, okay, I don't want that to happen again, and here's what I'm going to do for the next 11 months to get myself ready.
And that maybe that preparation doesn't look different, but it's on the 7th day of September the next year, right? That's when it comes back
And it's
up.
probably not like this. I'm sure that those months are, it's like up and down and whatever, like life, but.
And even just the difference between person to person to person. So I'm interested to know, like, what kind of person are you in that moment? Because I know there's, it's starkly different, but there's a lot of similarity. Like if I'm in a CrossFit competition and competing in front of a lot of people, and we've got a 1 rep max lift, and if I make a poor lift, and I know I don't get another opportunity to redeem myself till that competition rolls around 12 months later, and I miss a lift I know I should hit or something in that moment, I'm the person that's like, all I can think about is how good it's going to feel the following year when I work 12 months to get back into that opportunity. Just give me another opportunity. I'd die for that stuff. Like, that's what I live and die for. Just give me another opportunity to go back to the drawing board, better myself, come back next year and prove to myself, what hard work can do. But I know other people that will never do that lift again.
Oh, interesting.
Because I'll be like, that was failure.
That's lifetime.
No, that's what happened to me exactly at Wodapalooza. Like, I couldn't even hit my warm-up lift in that event when we went out there. I couldn't even hit, like, I warmed up, I hit a lift 25 pounds heavier in the warm-up, and on the stage in the event, I couldn't do it, right? I was just thinking how I thought about it afterwards. I didn't have either of those responses that you're talking about, though. I was just like, yeah, wow. That sucks.
That brings up a totally different point, which we'll have to come back to.
Yeah.
But there's been times where I've lost sight of the goal, right? Where you get so frustrated and you lose sight of why you're there, why you enjoy it, the love of it, right?
Yes.
That part.
That's interesting, because my response to that was, because there was a couple of events in that competition in particular that I just couldn't, like, my body just wasn't going to do what I had trained to do. But in those moments, I truly, and I felt this with all my heart, and this is probably God winning in that one moment, was just like, oh my gosh, I'm somewhere on this, like, international stage doing things that I thought would be impossible for me. I didn't even know what a clean and jerk was 3 years ago. I couldn't imagine doing handstand push-ups, and, like, how cool that I just got to do these things at this huge competition and on this stage.
How do you walk up all the prep and not pull your warm-up weight? What was that mentally?
Well, it was we didn't go from the warm-up to the lift. There was a whole bunch of stuff in there designed to cripple your body so that you weren't going to be able to lift.
Yeah. And that day happened to be just, like, sweltering hot in between 2 rainy days. And and then you had to, like, sprint on the bike and then get off and hit your lift. And so it's interesting. And maybe this relates with hunting too, because I went to hit my warm-up weight and I couldn't get it over my head. Like, I got it up easy enough, but I couldn't get it over my head. And I was like, okay. So now, like, you have a split second of, what do I do now? So I stripped off a little bit of weight, couldn't hit it. I was like, okay, I have 15 seconds. What do I want to do? So I just stripped off more weight and hit a weight that I was like, this is a no-brainer. So at least I post a score versus a 0.
It's like let's build a freezer moment.
Yeah. Right. I was just like, well, I got to put something on the scoreboard. So, because I don't want to let down my partner and get a 0.
And then maybe that's the difference there too, right? In that comparison, right, is you have someone dependent on you as well. I mean, I guess that could be as much as, not filling the freezer for her and I as filling the freezer, right? I mean, and I've been so solo on this thing as I don't even consider that, right? And then one of the things that I started to consider more on this solo adventure, or, goal, if you will, is how it affects her, right? So that part of it has started to, there's some good in it, but then there's ugly in it too, right? Because the regret of not doing it and not fulfilling the goal for that long, right? It starts to settle in on you. But there is a part of it, right, where she's at she's at home for weeks by herself. Right. I mean, that is a toll on her for me. You look at hunting. Hunting is sort of a selfish endeavor in the way that I've approached it. So I have to consider that, right? And so that I guess I'm going to take that team aspect from CrossFit on the mountain with me this year, because it's selfish. It's me. It's my goal. It's not her goal and my goal. It's my goal. Yeah. Right. This is something that I endeavored to do, that she is best on the back of the truck on the bike rack, just along for the ride with it. Right. So there's been a dilemma for the last few years. It's harder for me to stay away the whole month than it was 3-4 years ago. Right. 110% selfish.
Yeah, but it led you to go.
Yes, it did.
So that would have changed your life.
Right. I'm thinking this is the year, right? Because if you look at the number of years, 7, this is 8.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
You're 7. You knocked me down 7 times, buddy.
I'm back up, number 8.
I have not fallen yet, as much as I wanted to quit and just acquiesce to easy multiple times and just say, forget this mess.
But you'll know it. Then you live with that, right?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right? That's the problem.
Is that the problem with having a non-addictive personality?
Yeah. Absolutely. But it's not even, I mean, yes, as much as of an addiction you could say that is, right? It's hunting is like CrossFit. It's a lifestyle. Like, it is absolutely a lifestyle.
And it's not inexpensive, is it?
It can be.
It can be. I guess CrossFit can be.
I mean, when I started hunting,
but
I found a used bow on eBay with like 6-7 arrows, a release, hodgepodge broadheads for $250 shipped to the door. Like, that's how I started hunting. We didn't have any money back then. So you can absolutely do it inexpensively.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it's the industry, air quote, part of that will suck you in over and over. Now,
well, that's everything. That's with absolutely everything.
And
Skiing,
there's
whatever.
a handful that have gone back to they've gone back to the literal bow and arrow, right?
Oh yeah.
For the extra additional challenge.
Yeah, actually.
Like an old-timey bow and arrow?
Yeah. You got your trad guys.
Who's the world famous hunter? Like the mega famous guy?
Cam Hanes.
Cam Hanes. Has he done that?
No. He's still using a compound. Aaron Snyder's one of those guys that, I don't know, seems like it's been a few years now that picked up a trad bow and is just the absolute killer with that thing.
There was a compound bow, the kind that goes like this.
That's a crossbow.
Oh, okay.
That's not in my world.
That's different.
For seniors and handicamed folks.
Is that like a 3-wheeled motorcycle?
Yes. Absolutely, like a trike. Yeah.
To e-bike.
For sure. The compound is a wheeled bow. I mean, you have,
Oh, with the...
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like how you did that fast.
But you knew what I meant.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Versus this.
And I've had an interest in traditional archery for a while, but I always tell myself, well, why make something difficult even more difficult? It's like shooting an open sight rifle versus a scoped rifle. But last year I bought a recurve, and this year I'm chasing turkeys. My turkey season is going to be with a recurve.
And is that just like the wood and the string and the arrow?
Yeah, that's it. No accessories or accoutrements.
Yeah. I got my middle daughter that for one of those for her birthday a couple years ago. It was fun.
Archery is amazing. I don't know how you guys aren't even into that.
Oh, it's fun. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shot for my daughter's birthday, or her 8th birthday, we got her one. Well, her aunt and uncle got her one and went out and shot it. And I had it like strangely natural gift to it, which I didn't see.
Yeah, you sent me a video of you just like nailing it.
Yeah, I'm not a great shot with a pistol by any means, or I'm okay with a rifle, but I had no idea. But I shot that thing pretty well. But then I had elbow tendonitis within an hour, and I was like,
Oh yeah, it's different muscle group.
I punched myself in the eye somehow.
Oh, I've done it.
It's on video.
Knockout teeth, bloody nose, the whole, just drawing the bow back. So discomfort. We're gonna jump back to
Okay.
that. So
Discomfort.
how do you deal with that discomfort? How do you reconcile discomfort to see through to your goal?
I definitely think that's an area I could be better in. Because I'm fine with discomfort up to a certain point, and then I do think I have a tendency to like,
I disagree.
Really?
I don't have no idea about the CrossFit side.
Yeah.
But me knowing Crystal just through church and through faith, I disagree 110%.
Interesting.
Because everything that I've seen about you says that you're willing to step into the utmost discomfort,
public bathtub,
and push through, and you're on the other side of that to a point now.
So I guess then maybe a better way to say it is,
You're, excuse me for
no, that's okay.
assuming.
No, I appreciate it.
Assuming the physicality part of it, but I think there's so much more in terms of discomfort in the mental aspect. I think physical.
Oh, I could be mentally well, I don't know. I guess I have a hard time judging myself on this because I do think that I am a lot stronger than I give myself credit for. I don't know if you would agree with that or not.
Just a little bit I've seen, right? Just knowing some of the backstory and what got me to know you, right? Like that discomfort, right? You were just talking, I'm not going to bring it up unless you bring it up, but we were just talking about that before we hit record, and some of the fears and worries you had about stepping back into church and following that path, right? I think that says a whole lot about how you deal with discomfort and what you're willing to push through to.
Yeah, I have to think about that a little bit because as we're talking, I do think I'm discrediting myself a bit. So I think I am willing to be very uncomfortable for something I believe in. Yeah. Physical discomfort in terms of being in the gym, I definitely get frustrated with myself because like Aaron and Christian always talk about, oh, I just go dark. I'm like, I don't know if I have a dark. I'm just like, this sucks. I guess I'll keep going for a while. But yeah, I do think maybe that is part of an addictive personality, like being very willing to be uncomfortable for something you believe in.
No, I think that's, I don't know if I would call that discomfort. I would call that badass, right? Like that, realistically, like a lot of people aren't going to give up without feeding into it too much. Their picture perfect life. Right. And
it's more comfortable not to.
Right. Absolutely more comfortable just to settle in. And maybe it sucks and you hate it, but it's more comfortable to settle into that and not look at what you believe in.
Yeah, turn it off.
Yeah, but to me, that's more uncomfortable. Because it's more uncomfortable to be living a life outwardly that's not aligned with your inner life than
it's harder to be who you don't want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. And like the exhaustion I'm going through now is on a different level. It's different exhausting, but it feels like the exhausting that's going to eventually be the right path, if that makes sense.
It makes 110%.
A sermon today at church, our church that we attend, was really cool about that too, right? Like Daniel talked about when things get hard, our instinct as humans is to be like, nope, never mind, I'm going back. This is too hard. That's probably happens in hunting all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like you're out there and you're like, wait, it's raining and it's cold. I don't want, like, I could buy steak at the grocery store, like you said. What am I doing out here? And the tendency is to want to just throw in the towel, right? And you have to really be okay with the discomfort to achieve this goal that you have for yourself.
Well, but that discomfort leads to so much.
Yeah.
Right? It leads to so much on the other side of it. Well, I had this little buck come in. So our deer season is only a week, and we had deer all around us. And season opens, no deer.
Property.
I send the wife a picture, and I have this little tiny fork, and he's like 20 yards behind me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna kill him. I send her the picture, and she says, "But it's a baby."
Aw. But it's a baby.
She shamed me, and I'm like, I'm gonna just kill him. I'm gonna just kill him for like 3 days and send one around. And then last day of the season, this giant buck shows up, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness I didn't
take the baby. Yeah.
Like, thanks, babe, because I was gonna kill the baby 4 days ago.
So have you poor baby. Have you learned that the hard way? Have you acquiesced and then regretted it?
I don't really have a goal when it comes to my deer hunting. Right? Like, that's my rifle hunt every year. I'm gonna shoot a deer, and I don't care. I'll shoot a duck. Like, doesn't bother me one way or another on that. So, but on the elk, yeah, no, I'm not. I haven't.
You've never had a time where you're like, shoot, I should have waited, and now I shot my shot too early, and here we are. Wow, is that unique, you think?
I don't think so.
You think most hunters will wait?
No, but I don't think it's unique in the sense that for people that set out with if you want to call it an audacious goal, settle in and say, this is the goal and this is what I'm doing, and rock and roll with it. So I don't necessarily relate that to hunting only. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, it's like the things that I've learned about life through hunting, they're just, it's so much back and forth, just like I'm sure it is with CrossFit, right? And the things you learn in the gym and just pushing through the grind and what you take away from it. So it's not always relatable to hunting. I definitely would rather be around people that set those goals and stick with them.
Yeah.
You know,
with the discomfort stuff, it's got me thinking, have you found in your life you got to a point where the training and the discomfort and the constant exposure to being out there when it's raining and like in the hard conditions, are you at a point where that's the excitement now? Because I know personally for me, when the conditions get absolute garbage, I light up. There's something comes out of me where it's like, finally a formidable foe, because I'm like,
easy.
I love it. Like it can get that hard out there, and I'm getting happier and happier and happier. Yeah. And I think it's a trait that comes from the exposure. And you've done it so many times, and it's like, send me something. Like, send me something.
And it's problematic with hunting, right? Because it's one more ridge, right? Like, you'll buy 100 animals just to get to the next ridge, just to see if you could do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and then you turn around and you look to where you got to walk back to.
You miss the kind of point.
Yes, right? Like, I've done that over and over and over. But to the point, it's led me to somewhere that I'm absolutely grateful for the next ridge, right? Without that, I wouldn't have been tested here. I wouldn't have been tested there. I mean, been on a hillside, by myself trying to pack out an animal going, may need some help here.
Back up.
I'm in a really bad spot, like search and rescue may be a thing right now. Like, spent, no water, no nothing, cramping every step. But if it wasn't for that mentality, that next ridge, right? And for me, it was always killing my ego, killing my pride, right? I've done that on the mountain, like searching, and I didn't realize it, that's what I was doing, but I was searching for humility. As much as it was me going, can I do that? Which could be construed as pride or ego, right? But it was really like wanting to feel this small so I could feel that big when I got up there. And it's really just kind of stepped me back from pride and ego. Going back to my testimony, that was all in preparation for me surrendering. Like 110%, like perfect timing. When I look at the things that stand out for that surrender, it was always about humility and killing my pride and really taking that next learning step and understanding that, I'm this big in the big picture, so to speak. But every bit of it was like every bit of it led me to last season, right? That story I told you guys the first time. It's something else. I don't know that people that don't want to be in that discomfort or in that zone or put themselves in those positions, I don't think that they realize what they're missing.
That's such an interesting point. Yeah. Wow.
Literally writing it as you said it. Discomfort in faith. We talked about this at men's group, and that's the difference between the people that are showing up on a Sunday and they're throwing up, pretty token prayers compared to the person who's like fist pumping, like fisting into the ground in tears, trying to turn over every rock of sin from their past out loud and just being an absolute humbled wreck. I think that's the difference. Like, there's a strength in faith in doing it that way because of the humility that comes out of it. And I think it sounds similar to what you're talking about. Like, just being in that full level of surrender and discomfort in anything will make you better. And it'll make the person you're becoming better as well.
It's crazy to think about that those people who aren't doing that, what you just said, like they don't know what they're missing.
They don't.
Yeah.
And I think, and it's sad, right? Because everything we do, at least we're trained to have the mindset of work hard, it's going to lead to success. And that success looks like comfort, right? The harder you work, the more comfort you get. Well, quite honestly, the harder I work, the harder I have to work, right? Not necessarily because someone's pushing me, but because I'm leveling up myself. So I've never taken a step and not thought that the next step was going to be easier. I'm ready to go for the next hardest step. Like, that's
because you're building your capacity for hard,
right? Like you just want to do it, right? You just want it to come, and you're like, okay, what's the next one? What's the next one? And then the discomfort is a lesson, right?
Yeah.
That is part of the training tool. That is part of the lesson. That is part of what I'm supposed to see in whatever endeavor it is, right? Be it professionally, be it, a hobby, be it a, CrossFit or hunting or whatever that is. I think that is the problem with when people aren't there, right? Like,
when the goal is comfort.
Yeah, I think that's super powerful. Like, even the people doing hard things are doing hard things in order that it may be easy.
Right.
Where the idea is to do hard things so that you can then have a greater capacity to do more hard things.
Right. Which ultimately leads to comfort in whatever area that is, right? But it's like this flip-flop look at it, right? People assume like the harder I work or the more money I make, the easier life's going to be, right? And ask anybody that has a bunch of money, and they're going to tell you that it's not that way, right? More money, more problems. Like, that didn't come out of nowhere, right?
Great song.
Yeah, we see that. So I've talked about this before with CrossFit community, that it gets to a point where you have a community almost of people who are willing to be really uncomfortable, but only in one area of their life. And so they're willing to come to the gym and get really uncomfortable for 50 minutes, but the rest of their life, they're trying to be as comfortable as possible. Like, they're doing nothing outside of that 60 minutes that is challenging them in any capacity.
And oftentimes putting down people who are in a weird way.
Not utilizing the 60 minutes to benefit outside.
Yeah.
Right? Like that would be, that's the worst use of that 60 minutes, right? Like, you can't understand the level of grit and fortitude you have versus, if you want to just be comparative, against 100 people that wouldn't walk into a CrossFit gym. But you can't take that grit and determination to get through the 60 minutes and transfer that to any other area.
Leverage it into your faith, leverage it into your diet.
Yeah, like you do this really hard 60-minute CrossFit class, but yet like won't walk your grocery cart back to the little hut thing that they put in the parking lot.
I will walk from the farthest corner to put that sucker back in the store before I leave it next to the car.
Yeah. Crazy. Or just little things like that, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, you go in there and you'll kick your ass for 60 minutes and then you'll go home and take shortcuts with your parenting. Like,
yeah.
That's not
no transfer, right? There's no transfer. It's like you're doing something uncomfortable. Why don't you live in that?
Or yeah, like oftentimes even do things that are then counterbalancing. Like doing a 60-minute workout is not going to make a lick of a difference if you're sitting on your couch watching TV 8 hours a day.
Yes, drinking beer or whatever.
Like, what's the point there? Or drinking sodas or whatever. Yeah, totally.
That is still sedentary.
It's interesting.
And you know, to play devil's advocate, so to speak, it's easy to do, right? Because of everything that we're conditioned to believe that we should be doing, right? I mean, even if you look at, you know, air quote, the American dream, right? Work hard, you're going to have the white picket fence, yada, yada, yada. That is the goal, right? We've been fed that goal for how long?
Yeah.
Aaron's from Australia. He's been fed the goal,
yeah.
right? Like, so it's like...
The American dream is real in Australia.
it just, you don't, people just don't see it. They don't.
Yeah. I'm really stuck on that people don't know what they're missing.
Yeah.
That's a pretty powerful, like by not doing hard things, you don't know what you're missing. So that could be in little ways.
On the table either.
Yeah.
Oh, that potential.
Yeah.
Do you feel that? Just, I'm curious. Like I love meat and eating meat and I don't hunt. So 99.9% of the meat I eat's from the grocery store, right? I'm blessed in that I have people in my life who will share what they've hunted. Do you feel that difference when you're eating something that you know that you've gone out and killed versus a steak from the grocery store?
Oh,
like
it's 180. 180 flip-flop. We could be here. Christian could be here. We could be throwing stuff on the grill.
Which he is.
He just pulled
our little best friend.
We could have the grill outside going, and we can have a stack of, you know, ground beef patties that we got from City Market.
Yeah.
If you drop the patty on the ground, chances are the dog Pablo, the kidnapped dog Pablo, is going to eat that patty. You are going to hand that patty to Pablo. The difference is the elk that I brought. If I drop that on the ground, I'm going to pick it up, clean it off, and I'm going to put it to the side.
Yeah, because it's like sacred.
It's precious. I took that life. I know exactly what that animal is doing in its last moment, right? This goes kind of back to me acquiescing for a small right? You have such an appreciation for not just that life, but everything that it takes to have that life sustained.
Yeah.
However long, right? Be it a 7 or 8 year old bull or a 2-year-old cow, right? Like your level of appreciation for that sacrifice, the blood on your hands reminds you every single time you do it. So you open up that freezer, there's a story behind it. It wasn't that I just drove 10 miles to Dale to go grab it real quick so we could eat tonight. No. Like it came through blood, sweat, tears, preparation, sacrifice, the time away from my wife, right? The time behind my rifle, up and down. Yeah.
Preparation.
I mean, that's where the meat we're eating tonight
comes from,
right? You do not forget that. And when you eat that, you relive that moment. That elk in particular, Tony came out. It's a 4-day season. He was supposed to be out on Thursday. Got pushed because of work. Was supposed to be out Friday night. We were going to get up Saturday morning and go. Okay. Thought we were going to have some sleep. Well, I'm like, where are you at? He's like, we're 7 hours away. Wake up the next morning. It's the last day of season. He's still not there. I'm like, well, I'm waiting. This hunt was supposed to be with him. I'm waiting for him. We didn't get out until noon. He just drove 15 hours. I said, hey, get some sleep. We're leaving at noon. We get out. We drive an hour and a half. Drive around looking, nothing. I think 1:30, 2 o'clock or something. Hey, there's some elk here. We get in pursuit. Those elk beelined it across. We had no idea. We went, we approached in the drainage. We get up to the top and they're nowhere to be found. Well, now they're 1,600 yards to the west. And I'm like, all right, let's go. We just cut them off, drop back down, book it over about 1.5 miles. And we're walking. I could smell them. Wrapped one, and I'm like, hey, be ready. They're here. I smell them. And they saw us before we saw them. They blew up. I mean, just they're crashing everywhere. And I hit a cow call, just meow. Cow stops at the top of the hill, walks back down, boom. Right? I mean, it was just freaking awesome. I remember Tony grabbing me after he saw her hit the ground. He grabbed me. Yeah. And I'm like, no, don't celebrate. We don't have hands on her yet. He said, no. I go, until we have hands on her, she is not dead.
Yeah.
Like, calm. It's like doing an end zone dance at the 1 yard line.
Oh, okay.
Like literally, right? And it could have been a fatal shot, but it was like, nope, we don't
You
do
don't
that.
know until you know.
don't know until you know, right? So we get up, she's like 80 yards away. We get up to her, hands on her. Okay, now we're ready. Let's celebrate. Right? So so there's this level of appreciation, but not for the animal, but for everything, like I said, that it took to sustain that life. Like you appreciate all that. You know, some people walk past the dandelion and see a dandelion, right? Unless you're a forager, if you walk past that dandelion and there's medicinal, stuff in that dandelion. That elk may have been eating that, right? Like, so there's this appreciation for understanding that that circle of life involves every bit of flora and fauna that you.
That's such a beautiful part of hunting. It's like you don't, because you don't know what you're missing.
Right. It's a trophy hunting thing, right? It's this misnomer about how horrible hunters are. I don't know.
Never mind that we wouldn't be here if it were like.
Right.
If it were people hunting.
Yeah, fire and meat. Like, brain capacity says something about that.
Right, and then what the alternative is that we're supposed to eat these heavily farmed, produced animals because that's the right thing.
Or like laboratory meat, gross.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, think about that, right? Past, some factory processing.
Yeah.
There's 1,000 cattle in 3 acres.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't know if that's, I mean, dairy
just crammed into
just crammed in. Right. Just, getting fed. What life is that?
Well, I even had an interesting, I was a vegetarian for a long, long time. And I remember being told and not really believing it, but when I got pregnant with my oldest daughter, started eating meat. Like the first thing I basically did was like, I'm going to be eating this. My midwife at the time was like, thank God, you should absolutely be eating meat. But I drove by a kale farm in Southern California. And this is like organic kale, right? That's healthy and vegan, whatever. It was the most depressing thing I've ever seen. It was just plastic black tarps on the ground with these little bits of kale sticking through. And then I'm thinking like, how many animals are killed for this? Because they're not letting rabbits and chipmunks and squirrels and whatever eat that kale.
That's one of the things. I don't know if you know who Ted Nugent is.
The singer, like rock star guy.
Ted Nugent's a huge hunter.
Yeah.
Huge, conservation advocate. And he always talks about, vegetarians kill more moles, voles, and mice than anything on the planet.
Oh, yeah. Right? If a life is a life, right? You're killing way more. But to even, just because there was, and especially in the circles that I ran at the time, this narrative, right, of like, this way is better and this whatever. I just remember seeing it and being like, the disconnection to life in this stalk of kale is so depressing.
But okay, so that goes back to all the flora and fauna mattering, right? I mean, if you look at what our way of agriculture has been over the last, call it 100 years, right?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing regenerative about it.
No.
We kill the soils. We kill everything in the soil to the point where if it's not chemically induced, nothing's growing.
No.
Like how is that dichotomy reconciled with someone that says, and I'm actually shocked that you're from Fort Collins and had like this vegetarian or vegan experience and then like meat was murder type thing.
Yeah.
That one doesn't.
We chalk it up to youth and whatever.
I would love to live in a world where you had to provide your own food. That would be my dream world.
Absolutely.
Just
absolutely.
Well, and the difference between that elk, right? Living its beautiful life, eating the dandelions with its elk friends, and maybe having a really hard last microsecond. What a beautiful way to nourish your family.
And you are in full appreciation
because you're a part of it.
You're in the circle of life. You can go out on a hike, a through hike. You can be an outdoor wildlife photographer. You can go out and fish the frying pan, right? But until you put your hand in that circle to fill the freezer, to feed your family, to take that for sustenance, you have no idea of how you and everything else coexist in this, what really is a beautiful sight.
And every ancestor in your line, you know, maybe not the past couple generations, but certainly everyone before that.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember my grandmother telling me stories, you know, they're going home from school and they're literally picking dinner as they're going home from school. This is down south.
Like blueberries or what, pecans or whatever they're eating.
Dinner, we're going home. Hey, we're having this tonight, right? Like score, you know, going fishing, you know, in the middle of the day or, you know, at the end of a work day so you could feed your family. Like, we don't have it that hard, but there's something, like Aaron said, there's something that's magical, that's beautiful, that we could all benefit from that.
Yeah.
Just think of the health aspect.
Yeah. Well, the connection too. Imagine your family connection as well. You have to bring your kids down because you got to go catch a fish. And everyone hangs out the river. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Every day. Can you imagine that? The days that you didn't catch anything would suck, but hey, nonetheless.
You'd be better for it.
But I don't think, I mean, if you look at what's, and I'd be curious to get your take on this, right? If you look at like our crazy food pyramid or this, you know, 3 squares a day type thing, right? Like, when did we function like that ancestrally? Like, we weren't having 3 meals. The food pyramid, like, how crazy is that?
Well, when in history do people have to be told what to eat?
What to eat.
Yeah. Like, that's such a new, it was just like food was food for so long.
Yeah, as a label, it's not food.
Yeah, and then now it's like, oh, this, even in the CrossFit space of like, how many grams of protein are you eating? How many grams of carbs are you eating? How many, you know, grams of fat?
How important is that? How important is the macro part of the diet?
Depends on your goal. Weirdly, there's not a huge contingent of people come into CrossFit because they want to turn their life around and they do, but they're kind of only going to do it in that one area. So there's not as many people in a CrossFit gym that's really dialing in their nutrition compared to what you'd probably imagine there is. Most of them just ignore that. They just eat whatever and drink whatever.
Let the 60 minutes speak for it.
Yeah, to some degree. And then there's a level of like, eventually that discipline starts to carry over because you get to a point where you're sick of doing all this work and then just letting it go away with some poor discipline and that. So that the discipline eventually leaks over, but not that many people have like a 6-year CrossFit career. Like a lot of them will do it for a year, do it for 2 years. So yeah, it's not as much as you would think in most gyms. There are some gyms that are really big on it and they push it as a culture. But for the most part, there should be they have it right too. CrossFit keeps it really simple. Their recommendation, and you can break this down, you can get into it and you can look at the science or whatever, but their recommendation is just eat meat and veg, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar. That's it. Rules to live by. If everyone in the world did that, 90% of the world would be fitter. There'd be 10% of outliers who that doesn't work for, but if everybody on the planet just took that advice, eat meat and veg, what did I say? Eat
a little bit of fruit.
Seeds, nuts, some fruit, little starch, no sugar. We'd be in a different world.
But see how simple that sounds? Like, because you eat really well, but you're not sitting there counting every gram of protein, every gram of carb. Like, I've never seen you do that before.
No, I don't.
So I would argue just following that is a much healthier way to look at it than be like, how many grams of protein do I need to hit today? How many grams of carbs do I need to hit? Like, I was, for a long time last year, I was like very consciously making it a goal to eat a certain amount of grams of protein because I was trying to build muscle and I was trying to make sure I was eating enough, and that was really helpful. But also, you can't do that forever. Like,
that's the problem, right? Is it's
the sustainability.
Yeah.
Sustainability is almost impossible. Just eating right is easy enough, right? But it's hard at the same time because
you've recorded those episodes on like there's a whole system. There are all these systems in place to have us burnt out and exhausted and disconnected. So we are eating that garbage food because it keeps us sick and.
Yeah, and one of my other favorite sayings is, it's not hard to do, but it's easier not to.
Absolutely.
That's
yeah, that's where they get you.
Absolutely.
This is awesome.
So faith. Faith. That's how Aaron's like, I walk into our men's group and Aaron starts talking, and I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. Me and bro are
Kindred
gonna,
spirits. Yeah.
me and bro are gonna get along just fine. And it's nice, right? Because you like Aaron said, you know, you have this exposure to something that you wouldn't necessarily relate to. Um, so how did you, for the lack of a better phrase, fall into your faith? How did that come about? Um, you know, was that rock bottom, or was that something sprinkled over time that got you to where you're at?
Actually, both. It was so we did a whole episode on this that hasn't come out yet, but it will in the pretty short future. But the testimony wise, but for me, it was a constant tapping my whole life. The easiest way I can describe my personal story upbringing was that I would wake up in awe of the glory of God, go to bed praying to the same God, and spend every hour in between denying his existence. That kind of that was kind of my entire
This is
life.
like most people.
Yeah, my entire life. Um, but praying every day. So which is something that I haven't really spoken about, but I think because I prayed nearly every day of my life, that when it was time for me to find faith, I had a connection to God and I talked to him. It wasn't an accident. People get upset because God talks to me. And they're like, I've been doing church for 15 years and he doesn't talk to me. Like we see it at men's group. They're like, how do you know he's talking to you? I'm like, well, I've been talking to him since I was 11 every day. What have you done? Like, what work have you done? Yeah, I didn't understand Jesus, didn't know the first thing about Jesus until recently, but I talked to God every day. And those reps led me to a point where when he calls, I go because I know it's him and I know how he speaks to me. But I came from a rock bottom, talked about it in the testimony. A whole struggle reintegrating into civilian life after um, 4 deployments to the Middle East and spending some other time there in private security. Try to integrate back into real life, couldn't do it, had a real hard time, lost all purpose, lost all direction, figured I was just a waste of space and more valuable not here. So I got to the point where a few things, I blew up a relationship that was pretty important as well. I had a bunch of concussion stuff come up at the same time. It's just spiraling pretty quickly. And I just got to a point where I was like, I'm done. I've had enough of this. Um, but because I always prayed, I thought, well, I'll go out praying. And I prayed to God and said, listen, like I'm done. I'm taking up space here. I'm a waste of whatever this is for. I have no reason to be here. Where is my purpose? What have you got for me? I said, if you have something, show me. Give me a sign that's going to slap me awake that tells me that there's still purpose and value for me in this in this world. And if there is, I don't need to know what it is. I just need to know that there's something. And I woke up the next morning, one of the just biggest hearted young kids in our gym that it's hard to explain the heart in this kid. And he'd taken his life because he didn't think he had any value in the world. And he was having trouble having a heart that big in a world so broken. He took his life. And when I woke up to a like blown up group thread saying, has anyone seen him? And then it progressively got to the point, don't worry about it. We found him. Um, that hit me real hard. And God spoke to me and he said, there's still work to do. Still took 2 years to get into the church, but that opened the door because at that moment I was like, all right, there's work for me to do. I'm going to start living like somebody who does believe in God instead of just trying, to be pushing him away and ignoring his call.
What does that look like? Explain that.
It started with just a small curiosity and just being open to what it would look like during the day to put God a little bit more front and center rather than just always pushing away and pushing away and pushing away and pushing away. And so I just started to kind of let it in. And look for little signs, these little confirmations that would just pop up everywhere, constantly, like tiny little things you don't think much of, but when they happen so often, you just can't deny it anymore. It's just too much to deny. And so it was just a whole series of those. And then we started talking about it. We'd started a little ruck club that we would be meeting on Sundays. We ended up just the two of us. So we started talking a lot more about that and kind of just dipping the toe in to faith and talking more about what that looks like. And there was also a kind of parallel time where we're starting to realize like that society is pushing for us to be fat, dependent on their drugs, dependent on their food, poor, divided. And I started to realize, like, if they want these things, they want me broke and they want me sick and they want me on their drugs and they want me divided with my fellow man, like, what else are they pushing? Like, because I disagree with all of this. And I'm like, what else are they pushing? And it kind of, I heard a few people say, like, there's a reason they do this with Christ. There's a reason they'll push for a separation in Christ. So it kind of was like, let me pull that thread. I mean, there's so many different stories that lined up, but I also, this one didn't make the testimony episode, but when I decided to move to America, it's kind of a story behind that, but I was like, I'm gonna go to America and do this long road trip. And there was a part of me that an opportunity was going to come up where I could live wherever I wanted in the world, by taking that private security gig. And so I was like, maybe I will spend a bit of time in America. Maybe I'll move out there. At the exact same time, I start watching NFL on TV. So I always knew what NFL was, but I didn't watch it. I didn't have a team. I didn't follow anybody. I start watching it in Afghanistan in my last deployment, and it's the Tim Tebow hype, like the absolute pinnacle of his hype. And he goes on to win that Super Bowl game, not Super Bowl. He goes on to win a playoff game for the Broncos at the peak of this like Tebow hype. And I kind of watched this whole thing unravel and just remember being so drawn to the conviction that he had for Christ and just being like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know why everyone keeps saying he can't make it as an NFL player. Like, I hated him. And I just saw this guy who was just so open and in front of everybody, like millions of people, while being publicly persecuted for it. And him just being like, I'm going to own this. And he was so convicted in his faith and that's what I wanted to be. And so there was like this Tim Tebow draw as well that now just keeps kind of coming up as well. He works in spaces that I want to work in. And I think it all kind of just led to the point where I was ready to at least start really kicking the tires, really being curious around it. And as soon as I kind of started outwardly speaking about conviction and faith, it was just constant. Everything changed and it just kept happening. Everywhere I'd look, things would just fall into place or just line up. And it was just too hard to deny at that point.
Yeah, and I totally relate to that. I mean, that is my story, right? Like, to a point. Just so many little prods, so many little whispers, so many, it was like, all right, this is worth sneaking around the house for 2 or 3 weeks with a Bible trying to figure it all out. How would you, because we're not the only ones, right? We're not the only ones that happens to, right? But I've always said, like, when I'm on the mountain, that's when I talk to God, right? I won't pray for myself or wouldn't pray for myself. Don't really, I do, but anyway. But I would pray for other folks, right? And not really give real recognition. So if someone's listening, like, how would you say, hey, if you're getting this, if you're feeling this, if you're seeing this, or if you're having this, how do we get people to take hold of that, right? So they can walk down that path earlier. I think I told you this when when we recorded for your podcast, is I'm looking at some of my buddies after I, come out, if you will, right? And they're like, oh, we've been praying for you for so long. And I'm like, you're just going to let me burn in hell. Like, how come you didn't help me? Like, how come you did not at least try and guide the step, at least try and push me in the right direction? Because that's what I feel called to do now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when you guys got baptized,
Great
like, for me to just be up there and then Jake going, I just wanted to be with you guys when you did it. And Jake's like, stay up and help me. I was in the freaking lobby waiting on Roseanne to go to the bathroom. After Pastor Daniel walks up and I'm sitting against the pillar right there by the door, just tears in my eyes. He's like, everything all right? I'm like, dude, that was the most beautiful thing. Just helping people into was just,
you're literally guiding them to growth.
It was like, it was
physically.
That was the confirmation of me speaking this. Was like, I mean, you want to talk about a grand slam? Like, it went into the parking lot at that point. Right? Like, so how do we do better? How do we get without preaching. That's not our job, right? We're not meant to do anything but guide a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like the heart change is not on us, but how do we do better? How do we get people to realize what we've seen over the last year, 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah. I mean, what comes to me really quickly is it's God's timing. However, just doing what we're doing, I think I've just gotten a lot of messages in the past couple of weeks from people who are like, thank you so much for doing this, because you doing this is allowing me to feel like I can be bold. And even like I got a beautiful long series of messages from a friend who said, I have not told anyone that I'm now a Christian. Like anyone, I think outside of her direct partner, no one. But I like to follow in Daniel's example of what Daniel Self talks about at our church, of just being open and vulnerable and real and not preachy and not pretending like, oh, I have this all together. I have all the answers. I have nothing together and I have hardly any answers. But here we are. And Aaron said something in our podcast that we released last week that really resonated with me, of just saying like, hey, all I'm saying is try it and be open to it and see what happens, because God is writing your story and he does want to talk to you.
He's waiting for you.
He's waiting for you.
Jesus is waiting for that moment where you hand it over. So he's going to reward you because he doesn't want to lose you again. So he's going to reward you with everything. So, but like the advice that I want to give everyone, if I could like just die with this one piece of advice, would be like, you don't have to start preaching. You don't have to like go to church or anything. Just be curious around it and watch what happens in your life. That's it. Just be curious and then watch how your life changes, because he's going to see an opportunity and he's going to throw every reinforcement at you to prove like you're on the right path, son.
And ask questions. Don't shy away from asking questions.
It's funny to watch you say that with a smile on your face, right? For folks that can't see it, right? To hear that response and to see the smile on Aaron's face as you said it, right? You know, so going back to what you were saying is I've actually said to friends that are devout, like, you know, nothing. But I'm like, dude, what, you know, you're gonna let me burn in hell? And everybody, and I'm like, why don't we share this? Why haven't you shared this? Right. And 98% people are worried about what your friend is worried about, the rejection, right? Or the judgment. And I'm the exact opposite.
Yeah, you didn't have any problem.
No.
Don't care. Like, and I think that's been part of the buildup though, right? I'm okay with being solitary. I'm okay with you not liking me. I'm okay with not liking you. Like,
I'm getting there.
Right? Like, it does not bother me one iota to think that, especially at this point, right, that I'm going to be rejected by worldly, right? And I think I told Aaron this, right? The gnashing. Like, I don't know if my interpretation of that is right, but I do not want to hear, I did not know you. That's being and the gnashing of teeth. And I'm like, the gnashing of teeth part is,
like abandon God for something worldly, and regardless,
a little bit of discomfort on the planet for an eternity of happiness. Like what? That's just.
But also
simple trade.
Like the discomfort on the planet's still going to be there. Like it's not like you're skipping that.
Jesus.
Like those things are still going to happen. So you might as well have Jesus. I don't know.
Said that on the episode. Pastor Daniel, and I started cracking up. It was so good.
Because those things you still will be rejected. You still will, like, those things will still all happen.
What's interesting for me, like, I didn't even think about the eternal part of it, right? Like, as I was going through the whispers, intimations, right? And in my surrender, I never, like, the eternal part, that's more recent than everything else.
Same. I'm the same. Right? I didn't think of it that way either.
I hadn't considered until my first sermon, and that was the whole sermon was on that. And I was like, oh.
Well, it was, I don't even know if it was like, it was sometime after my baptism where it like,
you're like, oh, I get to go to heaven.
Like it actually hit me, right? Like it didn't, like, I don't know. You would think that if you're starting to walk this, like it's a parallel. And I was reading it and I was like, oh, eternal life. like, what is, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it did not register.
I'm kind of the same. I was like, no, I need help with the here and now, and I need this, God, now.
It's so strange. And then, like,
Yeah.
for me, I wasn't, I don't want to say but I wasn't looking for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Again, if I pray, even now, like most of my prayer is for my family, for my friends, right? For the people I come in contact with. I wasn't looking for
Mm-hmm.
salvation or anything, right? And it's so hard to deal with that part of it for me, right? That's some weight. That's heavy to think, right? Like, oh, there is a chance, even current path, that doesn't go well.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a heck of a thought,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's like, how do you deal with it all? It's so heavy, right? So then I with all my skepticism and unbelief and things like that, right? And I look at it and I'm like, how do I best approach this with people, right? Like, how do I do better?
I think that you be you,
Well,
and the people you're supposed to touch, you will touch.
I mean, you were praying over people at a show, so I think you're there. You're in the middle of the Great Commission. You're not shying from it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do like that.
No.
I could care less.
Yeah.
Men's group.
I might end up in hell, but I'll end up there giving it my darndest.
Yeah, I'll probably be weeping. I don't want to be gnashing.
No, I
the
really,
less hot part of it.
Yeah. I really think that you being you and doing what you're doing is exactly what God wants you to be doing right now. Like, I think you'll reach the people who are supposed to be reached by your story as long as you share your story. Like he calls us to share our story. So that is important.
Then that Daniel spoke to us about that. Like the testimony, they call it the power of testimony, not just because it inspires, but it literally fights the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it's a spiritual warfare against the enemy. So just sharing the testimony, somebody's going to hear it and they're like, wow, that, and they're going to like, the devil will tell you that your testimony won't reach anybody.
Mm-hmm. Or what you're doing is not enough.
And you'll feel that and you'll believe that, but it's not true.
I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Like, did I tell you guys about that dream?
Mm-hmm.
Brownstone dream?
Yeah.
That, for me, that's as real as it gets. Like, okay, let's go, buddy.
Let's go.
Whatever's clever.
Whatever's clever.
I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, if we're going to fight, or if we're going to fight something that is not worldly, like, I'm going to give it my all.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I'm fine with it. I don't think I'm going to lose it, you know? At least
be open to what God calls you to do.
I mean, it's to reconcile it all, right? And then there almost feels like you could almost have like this grandiose view of what you're doing, right? Like keeping the humility there and understanding like this is way bigger than me type deal. I could see people getting caught up in the grandiose part of it.
That's what we spoke about in men's group.
Yeah.
Specifically.
It's interesting because anytime someone's like, oh, I listened to your podcast, I'm like, oh, you did? Like people are listening to this?
You guys are doing a great job.
I mean,
for as new as it is great. I enjoy listening to it.
Thanks.
I
just get surprised. I'm like, oh yeah, I forget that this is like we do this here in this little space, and I completely forget that it like goes out into the world and other people are going to listen to it.
Have you looked at the map to see where you're hitting?
Ours is a little bit different, but yeah, shout out to our Vietnamese peeps. They're showing up.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's America.
Third biggest country to
no way.
America. Wait, how did they beat Mexico? Sharon and Matilda, get on it.
That's what. Trying to be cautious.
Don't be cautious.
No, I need to be cautious.
Okay.
So one of the things that comes up for me with the faith, right, is it's very easy to say this, but I think folks get caught up in looking for the answers, caught up in the problem, and thinking that they can read the solution, right? When I feel like the solution is constant surrender, submission, prayer, right? And not fighting it. And I feel like we fight, and it shouldn't be that hard.
I mean, I had that fully this week where I was fighting tooth and nail, and finally just had to every 2 minutes had to be like, no, you're doing this. It's hard. That's hard for me.
Yeah, it's a refining process that people miss that. That's the whole point. He's just refining us to become the image of him. It goes back to CrossFit, and I'm sure to hunting. If you go out there and the only objective is to hit a deer or a buck or whatever, or if you go into CrossFit and you're just one objective is like, I need to be good at CrossFit, you miss the person you become getting there. And that's what matters. It doesn't matter if you're the world's best Christian. It matters on who you become pursuing being the best Christian you can be.
Being the image of God.
Yeah, I think that's the point. He's refining us through it. So we're not supposed to be perfect. We're not even called to be close to perfect. We're just supposed to be more like Christ as much as we can. And it's who we become in that. And it is becoming more like him. It is the point. And we become more like him by focusing on, like you said, surrender every day. Wake up every morning. It's what it says in the book of John or Matthew. I think it's Matthew, but it's like, pick up your cross every day. It doesn't say pick up a cross and carry it. It says pick up your cross daily. That is a daily thing. You go to bed and wake up in the morning, you start again. You're back at square zero. You start again. Pick that cross up, surrender, give it over, go again. Wake up the next morning, surrender, give it, go again.
What is it? Don't worry about tomorrow. Today has enough worry of its own. I mean, that's part of that.
That's Matthew
scripture, right? I mean, I just see people struggle with it, right? And it's so hard for me to relate to it. And maybe that's the difference, right? And you know, where his timing met you, like for me, where his timing met me wasn't in the bottom of something. I think it was where he needed me to be, right?
He'll get you where
I need to be.
He'll get you where you can hear him. And so that's going to be different for everyone.
Right.
For me, it had to be at my lowest point. For you, it was literally where you're happiest.
Right.
That's so cool. He's the best.
But it's interesting to watch it. Yes,
yeah.
But it's interesting to watch it all. Especially wanting people to receive like you've received.
Right? Yeah.
That's the hard part, is like.
But I think you have to let go. That's control too, right? Like you have to let go of the control of wanting that for other people, because they're going to get it when it's their perfect time.
Right. This is true. That's a very good point.
And so I think just you being you doing what you're doing, you being you, doing what we're doing.
My devotional or my Bible?
No, a Bible cover. That's like that's control too, of like wanting it in a certain time, a certain season for someone else. I think it doesn't mean you don't pray for them, but you have to let go of the outcome for them, because that's not up to us. That's up to God.
It just seems so.
I don't know. I mean, people probably looked at me and said that. Well, I know people will have looked at me and said that, like, why didn't you just do this 20 years ago? Like, whatever. It just wasn't.
It wasn't ready.
It wasn't ready. I mean, well, you know.
Yeah. For me, right? I mean,
people are probably praying for you 20 years ago. Like, this would be so easy. Just do it. And
yeah.
So that's God's timing.
All right.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was just thinking about how frustrating it is for Pastor Daniel, right? To have like all these people, like, you're right there. But he knows he has to just wait
to reach out and shake
until it's God's perfect timing.
Appreciate both of you guys sitting down, taking the time, share some of your story, just having fun.
We appreciate you. I loved this.
I still keep going.
I love this.
I keep going, but that elk is calling.
Yeah, I'm hungry and I get crabby and weird. Lift heavy, pray hard.
Lift
God bless.